Good morning. It's 7:24 on this Tuesday morning. We're following some breaking news. There has been multiple explosions in a building near Phoenix Sky Harbor.
Huge black smoke is billowing right now from the building near 24th Street and Jefferson. Chris Arapsky just arrived at the scene. He's live for us right now. Chris, huge black smoke is right. We can see it there behind you. We can see the flames behind you. What can you tell us about what's happening out there?
Well, giant fire, obviously. We saw it from the freeway coming west on the I-10. We pulled off to see what it was, and it turned out that it appears to be some sort of fuel tanks and or boiler room in the back of a hotel that is on fire. This plume of smoke filling the skies near Sky Harbor right now. It's about a half-mile north of the airport. We're at about 24th Street and Jefferson right now is where we're situated, and what it appears to be is in the back of the Sterling International Hotels. It's a small hotel complex here. It's one of two in the area. There's a Motel 6 about 2 buildings adjacent to the south of it. And since we've been here, we've heard 6, 7, 8 explosions, making us cringe a little bit and get behind the truck. We wanted to park a safe distance away to make sure that we weren't in any danger. But one other thing we really wanted to do was make sure there was nobody in that hotel that was in danger, because what we've been seeing is the fire has been spreading. Oh, there's another explosion. If you just heard that on our microphone, you see more flames that are growing right now in size. But it appears that the fire is starting to grow to the east a little bit, towards the hotel or onto the back side of the hotel. I don't have the vantage point from Sky 12, so I can't see exactly where it is anywhere west of the flames or the hotel right now, but I can tell you that the fire is still growing. It looks like fire crews have a ladder up. They are starting to get some water on the fire, but I don't know exactly how they're going to treat this situation because I'm not sure what's burning. I do have a man here right now. We saw him running out of the Motel 6, which again is just a building over. This is Terry Dastrup, 23-year-old. You were staying at the hotel. What did you see when these flames first started coming up? Pretty crazy.
Well, I was in watching TV and I heard one explosion, and then about 30 seconds later it was an immediate, and I ran out and saw a big old black cloud of smoke, followed by like 3 or 4 more explosions, and that's when I ran out here.
Yeah, I mean, you and I arrived at the same time almost as you were coming out of the hotel, and I saw you running for cover. I mean, that's almost what it felt like. Yeah. How big could the explosions get?
Yeah, it was rattling the windows. Felt like, at first I thought maybe someone dropped a bag or something off a bed, and then it just rattling windows, and I was like, that's not right. So we came out.
You're staying at the Motel 6.
Yeah.
You said you almost stayed at that hotel last night.
Yeah, I almost did, but I didn't end up staying there. I stayed over there instead. It's all luck, but
when it first started, what did you see and hear? Because we came when the plume started getting big, so we weren't there in its infancy. Right. What did you hear first? Was it an explosion or was it the fire first?
It was an explosion, big explosion.
Interesting.
Bigger than any of these we heard. It was the initial one, I think, is what set it off.
And you were with a couple other guys over here?
We were all, me and a couple other guys ran out, and he was like, what the heck was that? And I said, I don't know. And then he ran out and he pointed at the sky and saw smoke.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. Well, we got this vantage point from here right now. We are a safe distance away. Again, we're just a few blocks to the east of this fire. You can see that water is coming down now from one of the ladders from the fire truck. Again, we don't know from this point what exactly is burning, if it's fuel or if it's something else, but it appears to be a boiler room or a gas tank situation on the backside of the Sterling International Hotels. So we're going to keep an eye on this. It looks like hopefully fire department is starting to get some control on this. I'm sure you can see this plume from just about anywhere in the valley right now, but let's send it back to the studio, guys.
Now to today's TMJ4 exclusive. A North Shore native narrowly survived the massacre. 2003 Homestead High grad Kerry Rotman was shot in the leg but managed to escape the theater alive. This morning we are hearing the story in his own words. Chris Rapsky reports.
He has a bullet hole through his leg.
A small entry wound and a large exit.
But Kerry Rotman's sense of humor is still intact. His Facebook status? Shot in the leg at Batman. Where is he when you need him? His version of the shooting, however, is much darker.
We heard a couple screams and realized that this was a shooter and a serious situation. Somebody's firing into the audience.
Rotman's friend Pierce was hit badly in the shoulder. He recalls the two of them curled up, praying on the ground.
All of a sudden, I get hit in my right leg. And so that's what I say, you know, Pierce, I'm hit, I'm hit, I'm hit. And that's when I didn't really hear a response from him.
In survival mode, shot in the leg, the 27-year-old ran outside and collapsed. Soon, 4 strangers grab him and pull him to safety.
She took her belt off, she wrapped it around my leg, tied it as tight as she could, put her hands over my wound.
Another flagged down a cop who pulled Rotman into the car and fled to the hospital.
He's got his hands kind of in front of me, and I just kind of turn and grab his forearms, and I'm just squeezing, you know, just because of the pain, pretty much. I mean, it just hurt.
During our visit, Governor Hickenlooper stopped in, Rotman expressing his gratitude towards the 4 strangers who saved him.
And you guys helped me stay calm. You guys helped a total stranger in complete and utter, you know, desperation and need. And, you know, can't thank you enough. If you're over 21, I'd like to take you out for a beer.
And worth pointing out that the reporter on that story, Chris Rapsky, is from our area and actually played high school football with Carrie Rotman at Homestead, reunited by this tragedy in an Aurora hospital room.
But you can see the water up to the wheel wells of these vehicles. We've seen some people who have been stranded decide that they're going to wade across the lanes of I-10, and when they come across, the water is at least up to their knees, Faye. It has been raining here for quite a while. It stopped for 10 or 15 minutes. It slowed down, and then it got worse. But again, it's just adding to this problem. 43rd Avenue and I-10 to 51st Avenue and I-10. And Faye, if you thought you could luck out by getting off on the surface streets, McDowell, just north of the freeway here, between 43rd and 51st, that's a mess too. There's a lot of water to some stranded drivers there.
As an Italian-American,
Pasta, and bread.
this has been the foundation of Nora Fasanelli's diet, until one day it began to make her sick.
Well, I didn't know I couldn't eat wheat products. All I knew was that for 3 years I had a tummy ache.
Doctors told her she had non-celiac gluten sensitivity, a disorder affecting an estimated 6% of Americans.
I decided to go gluten-free to see if it would help.
For the most part, her new gluten-free diet made her feel better. But then, a trip overseas to Czech Republic would change everything.
I decided to give a little dumpling a taste and to see what happened. And I waited a few hours and nothing happened. I felt fine.
It wasn't just the dumplings. It was the pasta, then bread, then desserts. Any wheat product she ate didn't affect her.
First, I thought it was all in my head, and just because I was on vacation, somehow or another, I had had a magic spell placed over me.
Thinking she may be cured, she tried an American-made cookie on the flight home.
I had the same bad reaction within 5 minutes.
The tests would be repeated. Other vacations to Italy, Switzerland, and New Zealand. Same thing. Wheat was back on the table. But every time she came back to the States, her, quote, gluten sensitivity came back. This got us thinking, why would she be able to eat wheat products from some European countries, but not the U.S.? We decided to test for ourselves the amount of gluten in various wheat products. We sampled domestic gold medal flour, local organic flour, and flour processed and imported from Italy. We also bagged up 5 ounces of domestic and imported pasta.
Now that we've weighed it all out, we're going to send these products off to the lab, get them tested, find out what's really inside.
The results showed of the 4 flours tested, the one imported from Italy, the one Nora has no problems eating, actually had the most gluten content. The 2 dried pastas tested have almost the same amounts of gluten. Again, one she can eat, the other she cannot. So is it really gluten that was making Nora sick?
I'm Steve.
Hi, Steve. Steve Sossaman, a Queen Creek organic wheat farmer, says no.
As our society progresses, if you want to call it that, we sped up the way we feed ourselves.
He says the way we farm and mill wheat has dramatically changed since World War II.
Housewife says, I want perfectly white flour because I want a perfectly white cake and I want perfectly white bread. So, okay, ma'am, we'll give that to you. And then, oh, by the way, we need thousands of loaves a day. So we're going to ramp up production, we're going to make this really quick, and then get it out there, and it's all about how pretty it looks.
Sossaman's ancient or unmodified grain called white Sonoran wheat is taken after harvest here, to Hayden Flour Mill, where it's turned into various flours the old-fashioned way.
Stone Mill, our record high temperature has been 104 degrees, so we know that our flour is preserved. All the nutrients is still there.
Master miller Benjamin Butler believes the way big companies mill wheat
is one of the problems with American wheat products.
They'll do whatever they can to make it as cheap as they can, as quick as they can, and as easy as they can.
First time it's ever been grown.
Right.
Here in Arizona.
The man next to Sossaman is J.D. McClelland, a documentary filmmaker soon to release A Grain Divide, an inside look at America's wheat.
The problem with gluten intolerance in general is that it kind of doesn't exist.
In his film, restaurateurs, farmers, wheat breeders, and scientists all point to industrial wheat processing as a major health concern.
That Wonder Bread has probably got 30 ingredients in it, many of which you've never seen before, you don't recognize.
So when we talk about a wheat problem, we don't really have a wheat problem, we have a refined white flour problem, because that's what we're eating 95% of the time.
If you look at the store,
I like to rate breads as like A, B, and C.
Sure.
They're all good, but some are better than others.
it's pretty hard to tell what you're eating. Bread is supposed to have 4 ingredients: flour, yeast, water, salt. How could that possibly be bad for you?
When did we become a world where it was okay to leave bread on the countertop for a month and not have it go bad?
That's because most breads have this.
Calcium propionate.
Or this.
Triticale.
Could it be possible that gluten is getting a bad rap here?
Anyone who says that gluten is bad for everybody is very much overstating the facts and the science.
Renowned Mayo Clinic gastroenterologist Dr. Joseph Murray, author of the new book Mayo Clinic Going Gluten-Free, says they're not really sure that gluten is the problem for people diagnosed as gluten sensitive.
Some would say we should use the term non-celiac wheat sensitivity, because it may well be other components of the wheat other than gluten.
According to the National Foundation for Celiac Awareness, quote, new research suggests that gluten alone may not be responsible for the symptoms produced by the condition currently called gluten sensitivity. Whatever the real problem is has yet to be unveiled by science. For Nora, trial and error.
I'd like to say it was Sherlock Holmes, but it was more like Nancy Drew.
Has her eating again what she grew up loving. Chris Arapsky, 12 News.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Faye. You know, the big players in the mural game across the country, you think of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia certainly has beautiful murals, but look at these. Phoenix is coming into the game. They're growing into this mural culture. So we wanted to go behind the scenes and take a look at the spray paint culture that is Phoenix. Under cover of night, often into the early morning sun.
It's the only time that I can say in my life that I have zero thought.
They paint.
The medium is aerosol, but I consider it more just public art.
By way of spray.
When you pick up a spray can, everything is in reverse.
Or touch of brush. The bricks.
I'm gonna dust it a little bit and dust his shirt.
The tiles.
It's a tribute to family, right? It's a tribute to the neighborhoods.
Their canvas.
I'm Thomas Marcus, downtown Phoenix. This is La Lakota.
Meet the veterans.
I'm Sequoia.
The new guy.
I'm Martin Moreno, and I'm a muralist.
The legend. Most of them started by tagging.
Was a snot-nosed tagger kid at one point.
The police were called.
I'll say just unsanctioned work.
Fortunately, I did not get in trouble.
Those hard-to-read scribbles scarring neighborhoods across the city.
There's good graffiti, right? And there's bad graffiti, I guess.
Once founded on destruction.
Tagging is more the scribbling and just vandalizing and destruction of property.
Mural art is now a common method to deter graffiti.
It really revitalizes downtown. You know, people used to graffiti or tag and all that, but then all of a sudden you have a beautiful piece of art, and these graffiti individuals respect art.
It's the street code, the unwritten rules of the game.
Sort of know better not to go over something that's a large-scale piece that's maybe done with a higher quality than what they're doing.
Not all pieces are immune, though. This mural was tagged, dubbed by some street artists as a copy of a prominent San Franciscan artist, a charge this artist denies.
It sucks because I spent a lot of time working on it, but it happens.
But for the most part, murals work to reduce graffiti, tell a story, and inspire youth.
I see a lot of younger guys dealing with business owners, asking for permission, funding to paint these murals, and I think that's great.
You got to embrace your community, so it's got to reflect their concerns, their history, their culture.
And the foundation of graffiti,
signature,
is still there, no longer a blemish, but rather punctuation on a modern-day Metro masterpiece.
Nice job, man.
So one of the guys in that piece, Lalo Kato, did this mural here, and it looks like one thing from wide away, but come closer and you could see the detail in this thing. I mean, look at the bumpers on the cars. This is the desert landscape here. You have the red and the yellow that symbolizes the Arizona state flag. And then if you look at the Phoenix skyline here, this is something, a signature of theirs. They actually put cacti on the top of the buildings in the skyline, which is a very Phoenix thing here, representing the desert. So very, very cool stuff. If you get a chance to see these murals, get a closer look and see what you can really get out of them. But hey, we want to know what you think about your favorite mural in Phoenix. So on our Facebook page, we've posted 4 pictures of murals that we think are pretty impressive, and we'd like to know what you think. So just click like on the picture that you happen to like. I believe the Jesus Saves one right now has the most likes. It's in the middle on the bottom there. But I think the Angels Trumpet Ale House is incredible. If you go by 2nd Street in Fillmore, that thing is so bold and so beautiful. And frankly, it's the reason why we wanted to look into this and do this piece. So just really cool stuff, Faye.